Hi everyone, this is Karen Palmer and I am your host of Living on Purpose TV. And this is where you are going to learn the easiest and the most effective steps to creating a life with more purpose and passion. Each week we will be bringing you incredible guests, and this week we'll be delivering you the most incredible, wonderful Liesel Tessusham. And what I am so excited about to bring her to you is Liesel is honestly, in my opinion, one of the most kind and loving people that truly wants to help the world by teaching us to care for ourselves. She gives SavvySelfCare.com is her website where you can reach her. And she gives us these incredible tools and helps us with the emotional freedom technique. I just want to say, Liesel, you have helped me in one of the darkest times of my life. And I want you to know that you truly, truly helped me step back into my strength and my power so that I could even actually do this show. So I really want you to know that it means so much to me for you to be a guest. I've been very, very selective about who I'm choosing to have as guests because I want genuine people who want to help change the world, and I know that you are one of them. And so I'd like to just introduce you to Liesel and ask her to just give a little bit of information about herself, and maybe just give your own little tidbit of why you do what you do in the world, and basically how you've become so purposeful and passionate in your business.
Thank you so much, Karen. That was an incredible introduction. You gave me tears in my eyes. I'm so, so grateful. Thank you so, so much. I'm very honored to be with you today. So my journey in life, that ended up now with a self-care sort of focus on my business was because I didn't learn as a young child to take care of me, Karen. I grew up wanting to take care of everybody around me, and I'm sure many of our listeners maybe have the same kind of thing, and I know for you as well, you love taking care of people around you and making sure everybody is happy and okay. And that can lead to a bit of overwhelm and feeling anxious and frazzled and responsible for everybody else. And that's indeed what happened to me, is people used to come to me very easily and tell me their problems. And thing is, I never learned any tools to deal with it. Or, I could listen, I could lend a good ear, but then I didn't know how to help them. So I felt overwhelmed with all these problems and not knowing what to do about them. So that's how I went on my journey of learning tools to deal with emotions, and eventually wrote a book about it. So, and if we're going to be talking today about stumbling blocks and stepping stones, I can share a bit more about that journey and how my stumbling block of wanting to help everybody except myself became my stepping stone in life.
Yeah, that would be great. If you could go into that, that would be my next question that I wanted to ask you is, what was a stumbling block that you'd like to share with us that you turned into a stepping stone? I think that it's so important that each person who is listening to this understands that we all get knocked down, and the only ones who succeed are the people who keep getting up. So that's wonderful to hear what your stumbling block was.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
It sounds a lot like my own.
Yeah, that's exactly why we can talk so, from heart to heart. And what I'd love to share as well is all our journeys that can connect are from the heart here. So my stumbling block was exactly what I've been talking about now, is that I've been on a journey of wanting to help everybody, sort of being a rescuer, actually. Wanting to rescue people and make sure that they are okay, and forgetting about my own health in the process. So it led me, this kind of pattern actually led me to marry somebody with an alcohol problem in my late 20s. I believed that I could actually change this person if I just believed in him hard enough and he could see himself through my eyes. He's going to have a different life, and I'm going to be able to change him and show him his potential. And it led to many years of struggle and strife and really, I forgot about who I was and my identity and what was important to me because I was trying so hard to help this person. And of course, like I said, that led me to explore ways to process my emotions because I didn't learn them from my parents. My dad was a carpet sweeper in the way that, we swept all our emotions under the carpet at home. And my mom was a bit over emotional, so we just never got taught what to do with our emotions. And late in my 20s, early 30s, I went on this exploration of how can I then deal with my emotions, what on earth to do with them. And during that journey, I started an EFT because I learned EFT as a modality to help myself. And during that journey, I became an EFT trainer, and therefore I started a training company with a colleague of mine. And one day I was just beside myself with being exhausted and tired and overwhelmed and frazzled and anxious because I took on all the work myself of needing to create the websites, do the training courses, take the bookings, do all the admin, and I didn't know how I was going to get through life. And I must say, my life wasn't feeling a lot of fun, even though I was busy with EFT and I loved it. My life was no more fun. I couldn't get up on Monday mornings and I was not feeling very joyful because I took on too much. So on this day, my colleague asked me, and Liesel, who gave you all this work? Because I was in tears already. And I realized on that day actually that I did it myself. And that was like an eye-opening moment for me, Karen, to realize that nobody asked me to do the work. She didn't ask me to do it all myself. I never asked for help. I'm not good with asking. And on that day, I realized the only person who can change my life is myself. And I need to learn how to take good care of me so that I can be useful and worthwhile and have energy to help others again. Because at that moment, I was just so tired and exhausted and not very joyful. I could not help anybody else. And I first needed to learn to help myself. And that's what became my stepping stone to my next career in self-care, is realizing that the only person who can do it is me. And
Well,
yeah, if
I,
our listeners can take that today, is the only person is me.
that just hit me really hard in my heart. That just really, really was an aha moment for me, what you just said. Because it's hard for a lot of us light workers, the people who feel that we are guided to help the world, that we become the rescuers. And we actually take on as an empathetic person, we take on what other people are struggling with because energetically we are so connected and we really want to help them. And so that was a really powerful, it's interesting that you spoke about that because, I was in abusive relationships. My relationship from 15 till I was 21 years old, I was in a very abusive relationship with an alcoholic. Same thing, saying, I want to just help him see the good in himself, and if I could just help him see the way that I see him. And then I just had this pattern after I got out of that relationship of doing that with every person. I just wanted to help them, and I wanted them to see the beauty in themselves. And when I started to realize that it really was time for me to take care of me, it really changed everything. So can you share with us maybe a wonderful way that people could get started with just one action step that they might be able to take as just a baby step, just to because self-care to me and self-love was such a difficult lesson for me. It was one of the hardest things, and it still is. I still tap on it. I still have to come back to, making sure I eat my oatmeal and making sure that I take care of me first. My husband always says, Karen, if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of the animals. If you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anybody. And he's so, so kind about helping me to be more present and paying attention to myself, making myself a priority. I know that I struggle with this as an issue, and so I would love a tip in that direction from you.
Mm, thank you. Everything, I can so resonate with everything you just shared. So, one tip I can share is if we can see ourselves as almost like vessels holding energy. So we have energy tanks, and we have four energy tanks. It's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And self-care is when we prioritize what we need in order to keep those energy tanks full. And if we can remember that, honestly, we are not going to be good to anybody else if we don't keep replenishing our energy tanks. So whenever we go give out to people and we help and we serve and we coach and we mentor and we guide, and we absolutely need to make sure that we put in back as much as what we're giving in. So one of my mentors told me one day, make sure that you have 50% downtime, not work an 8-hour day or something. 50% downtime, because I have a sensitive energy system and I need to make sure to put enough back in so I can be good to the people that I'm trying to serve. Now, one of the ways that you can put back into your energy tanks is to check in with yourself to see what drains your energy. Make a list, and it can be a person that you spend time with, it can be a place that you go to, it can be an activity during your day that just drains your energy. And make sure that you even take one little mini step to do less of that. And the other question to ask is, what fills up my energy? What feels absolutely great? When I do that, I feel like $1,000,000 after it. And again, it can be spending time with a particular person, or reading a book, or sitting out in the garden with a cup of tea and just listening to the birds. It can be something really, really simple. And just keep doing more of that. One little thing, more of that every day. So take away a few things that drain your energy and put in a little bit more of what gives you energy. And that's something really simple that anybody can focus on.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's such a perfect, perfect first step. I think that that will be a really easy thing for me to do, and I hope that our listeners will take a note, like you said, take a notebook out. We talked about this in the first episode. Get a notebook for yourself and really start to write these action steps down, and then start to see how you're transforming your life. You are the only one who can transform your life. So if you listen to these steps and they resonate with you and your heart says, oh, wow, I would love to be able to do that. Don't say I need to do it. Say I choose to do it. I choose to make myself important, and I choose to make this my new priority, because it takes 21 days for us to actually really start to implement a new habit. So if you try to do this for 21 days, you'll actually start to open up a new neural pathway in your brain, so that you literally are changing your brain. And that is something that I think is so powerful. So what's another step that you would suggest?
Let me look. Oh, yes, here is a fabulous one. Of course, I'm going to say this because it's the tool of my choice at the moment, is to learn a tool or a technique that you can use to work through your fears and your emotions that kind of keep you back in life, because we so often want to take action, and then there's a thought or a belief or an emotion that comes and says, oh, I'm going to feel terrible, I'm going to feel guilty to put myself first, or I'm afraid to do that because people will think I'm selfish. Or,
Right.
we worry so much about what people think about us.
Why
So
do
if
we
you
do
can,
that? Why do we do that? I was just talking to my 18-year-old daughter about it, and I was saying, it's none of our business to know what anybody else thinks about us. It's really none of our business. And when we get so wrapped up in actually assuming what people think about us, it's like this never-ending cycle of trying to please. And oh, please give us that example. Please give us that tool.
Yeah, Karen, I absolutely agree. It's like a never-ending cycle of pleasing, 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 and it will never end if we fall into that trap, and we will always feel not quite good enough because we need approval from the outside. So obviously, I think you know which tool I'm talking about. It's called EFT, and
Mhm.
it stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's one of the things that I just can vouch for myself because I've used it so often in my own life to get past these emotional pebbles in our shoes,
Right.
that can make us stumble and not want to take action on what we really want to do for ourselves.
Wow.
So I
So
don't know if do you want to hear a bit more about EFT, how we can use it for ourselves?
I would actually love to do a little of that. How about we do? I'm going to put myself on the screen here and I'm going to follow you through a tapping process. And what my issue that I would love you to help me with is being able to share my gifts in the world, and not being afraid to share them. And like you said, not being worried about external approval. Um, I am a spiritual medium and I have many, many spiritual gifts that I have trouble asking for, you know, to be paid for my services because I feel like I want to just give, give, give. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, like you said, that when we give from the resources and don't have resources coming in, then we continually give, and then we give from a well that has no more water. And so, what would be something that we could use as a tool to help us? Because there's so many of us out here in the world that really want to share our gifts, and we know that we're valuable. We know that what we are giving is going to transform lives because it transformed our own lives and my clients' lives and my child's life. And so I know that these things work. So what would be something that we could do together as a exercise?
Okay, perfect. So, am I hearing right that it feels hard for you to charge for your gifts? You know your gifts are valuable, but
Yes.
it's just hard to charge for it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. What is the emotion around that, Karen? Do you feel guilty, or I just can't ask for the money, or money is not spiritual? What goes on for you?
Yeah, it's that money is not spiritual, silly nonsense in my head that is telling me that this was a gift from God and that I shouldn't be asking for anything in return. And I know that that's not how God sees things. And I know that God lives in a, we live in an abundant world. And so that would be what I would love some help with.
Okay, perfect. So thanks for asking for that because it's one that I struggle with myself. So it's just perfect that we're coming together to work with us today.
Well, it's all
Okay.
divine, right?
Exactly, exactly. So I'll just lead you through a tapping round or two, and then afterwards we'll pause and see what your thoughts are and what you feel like right now.
I love it.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you could tell me just because we do this with EFT on a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you believe at the moment that it's not okay for you to charge money? If 10 is, I totally believe it, it's not okay, and 0 is, no, it would be okay, then where are you on that belief scale?
I'd say I'm about a 7.
About a 7. Okay. And where do you feel any discomfort in the body when you think, oh, I can't charge for this? Is there like a tightness anywhere or a.
Tight in my chest. My throat starts to close up when I start to try to speak or try to say what I'm trying to say. I'm working on that myself right now with this show. This is a big part of why I'm doing this show. I'm conquering my fear of speaking out in the world, and letting go of my fear of how people are perceiving me.
Brilliant. I just want to first of all acknowledge you for all this courage that you're displaying right here on the show. So well done, and I'm very proud of you. So let's tap. So we tap on the karate chop point. So if everybody just follows, even though they may not understand what the heck we're doing, just follow along and we can explain later. So tap on the karate chop point and say, even though
Even though
I've got all this fear about charging for my gifts,
I've got all this fear about charging for my gifts,
It just doesn't feel right to receive money for my gifts
It just doesn't feel right to receive money for my gifts
because it feels like a gift from God
because it feels like a gift from God
and that I can't receive anything for it in return.
and that I can't receive anything for it in return.
And I love and accept myself anyway.
And I love and accept myself anyway.
And even though I've got real big fears around charging money for my gifts,
And even though I've got real big fears about charging money for my gifts,
it just doesn't feel right to receive money for it.
it just doesn't feel right to receive money for it.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
And even though I'm so afraid
Even though I'm so afraid
to charge money for my gifts,
to charge money for my gifts.
my gifts are a gift from God.
My gifts are a gift from God,
So I don't feel right to receive anything in return.
so I don't feel right to receive anything in return.
And it feels like I must give them away.
And it feels like I must give them away.
And I know that leads to exhaustion
And I know that leads to exhaustion
and an empty well,
and an empty well,
but I'm still struggling with it.
but I am still struggling with it.
And I love and accept myself anyway.
And I love and accept myself anyway.
Great. So let's tap on all the points. So just go to the eyebrow point. I'm struggling with receiving money.
I am struggling with receiving money.
Side of the eye. I don't feel right about charging money for my gifts.
I don't feel right about charging money for my gifts.
And under the eye. I feel guilty when I want money for my gifts.
I feel guilty when I want money for my gifts.
I just don't think it's right for me to ask for money.
I just don't think it's right for me to ask for money.
Because God gave me these gifts.
Because God gave me these gifts.
So it feels like I need to give as well.
So it feels like I need to give as well.
And I have given before.
And I have given before.
Until I was empty.
Until I was empty.
And that didn't work so well for me.
And that did not work so well for me.
Yeah. So we're just going to continue another round. So maybe I can be open to another possibility.
So maybe I can be open to another possibility.
I'd love to be open to another possibility.
I love to be open to another possibility.
Yeah. That maybe money is just energy.
Maybe money is just energy.
Yeah. Just like my gifts are actually just a form of energy.
Just like my gifts are a form of energy.
Yeah. And then when I give energy out,
and when I give energy out,
I need to receive it back.
I need to receive it back.
So I can keep giving.
So I can keep giving.
And the only thing that's different here,
the only thing that's different here,
is the form in which I'm giving it out.
Is the form in which I'm giving it.
Is not the same as which I'm receiving it back.
Is not the same as how I receive it back.
Yeah, but it's all just energy.
But it's all just energy.
My gifts and money.
My gifts and money.
Is all just energy.
Is all just energy.
And I need to remember to keep my energy tanks full.
And I need to remember to keep my energy tanks full.
So I can keep giving.
So I can keep giving.
I'd like to be open to that idea.
I'd really like to be open to that idea.
Great. Take a nice deep breath in, Karen. Ah.
Wow.
So if you check in now with that thought of, oh, it doesn't feel right to charge money for my gifts, what's going on for you right now if you think that thought?
You know, I'd really like to say I'm about a 3. Just after going through that, realizing, that my gifts are, I'm an energy healer. I worked hard to learn these gifts, and as I was tapping through, I don't know if it was divine guidance or if it was my own intuition or my higher self that was helping me connect, but I felt like I was thinking, wow, you have invested in so much of yourself to learn all of these gifts so that, that you can be a servant and help the world. And now it's time to receive. That's what I felt.
Fantastic. That is awesome. And I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't get your the courses and everything that you did. You didn't get that for free. You needed to invest time, money, and energy.
Right.
To
Exactly.
learn. Yes.
Exactly. I
And
have.
so that's it. So the cycle can continue and putting back into your well for a change.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This was so, so wonderful. Now, Liesel, is there a way that people can get in touch with you? Do you have any kind of programs for people that are looking to go deeper and ready to invest in themselves and ready to make themselves a priority? Is there something that you would suggest?
Oh, I'd love that question. Thank you so much, Karen. So, one way that people can start investing in themselves is to learn EFT, this amazing tool that we've just experienced the power of how it can change us from the inside so very quickly in a few minutes. And if our listeners go to savvyselfgrowth.com and then / I believe it is Karen EFT is the easy link for people to go to. And they can have a little glimpse into a quite a short and a impactful, powerful EFT course that I've put together for people to start learning what this tool is all about. And that is a great place to start. It's a tool at your fingertips that you can have every day.
Wow, thank you. That's so generous of you to offer that for our listeners. And thank you so, so much for this incredible, wow, I feel like a completely new energy. I feel like it just kind of made me so much stronger in my understanding of, the fact that it is okay to receive, and that if you're giving from a place of your heart and soul, that you should receive from a place of your heart and soul, right? Is that correct?
Absolutely. That is absolutely correct, because whatever you're giving, Karen, as a very kind person who's also just making such wonderful, beautiful, beautiful heart changes in the world, you give from that place, and therefore it is absolutely allowed. I give you permission to
Oh,
receive to that very same place, and that is what we all need to learn, is it's okay. It's not that giving is better than receiving. They are both a cycle. It's like when we take a breath, we can't release the breath until we've taken an in-breath, and the two of them go together, and giving and receiving is exactly the same. It takes both of them for the cycle to keep working.
wow. Yeah, that's so perfect. Well, we are out of time, and I wanted to make this an opportunity for people to get a quick little inspiration break. So I want to gratefully, so humbly thank you for your time, for your gifts, and for your love that you share in the world so openly, so graciously. And I pray that I can learn these techniques for myself and share them with all the people in my life too. So bless you, namaste, and thank you so, so much for being with me today.
Oh, thank you, Karen. It was such an honor and privilege. Thank you so, so much.
All right, so we are